just a quick Q&A session. And really, I want to talk about how really a person's personality, the locations that they're at, and their associations will completely determine your travel experience. And that's why I entitled this live stream what I did, because I think that's one of the key factors that a lot of times a lot of people miss when they're traveling overseas, is not understanding where you're at, who you're associated with, and the environment for which you're in. And that plays a huge factor in everything. Let me add a thumbnail up here. Hold on one second. Yeah, what's up, my brother Top Gun? Salute to you, man. Because what I see a lot of times, many times on YouTube, the reason why I made this live stream, man, is because I see a lot of content on YouTube where so many of, the brothers put out a lot of content, and most of the content is from the same area and the same regurgitated talking points. Like, they all congregate in one area. They'll go one place and they'll make content, like constantly make the same content. Hold on a second. Over and over again. And that's why I always go off the beaten path. And like I said, I create my own reality. And many times you have to do that sometime. And you have to be open to people that are completely different than you. Like, I can travel. The reason why I get so successful in traveling overseas is because I don't really see race or any of that shit. I see values. So I will only associate with people that have similar values to me. I don't give a damn what color skin your skin is. And the brothers that I associate with, white, black, whatever, are people that have similar values to me. So I have a different type of experience. So I can come all the way out here to rural Thailand and still have a successful experience because I've worked in a diversified field. Even before I retired, I did 22 years law enforcement experience. So I worked with a diversified group of people. And even in my own personal life, I'm used to having so much diversity in life and different experience. So I don't just look at myself, the vessel that I drive just happen to be, in the culture is happen to be that of whatever, Black American or with a little bit of West Indian in me. So I have a little bit, like I look at people, and so my experience is different. That's why you always see me, I'm usually solo, or if I'm around some of the brothers, it's usually some solid brothers out here who are just doing their own thing, just trying to live their life, live their best life. And that's why I really don't have, many issues because, I separate myself from all of the goofiness and I have less problems. And I think that works for me. Let me find a new thumbnail here. Yeah, find an image that I like. And we always talk about it all the time. There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. There's only trade-offs. There really are. Okay, let me change that up. Excellent. That's an excellent post. So when I see a lot of the content, a lot of questions are missing. You know what I mean? Like, I know you brothers, like I said, this is a Q&A session. So when I see a lot of the content, it's foreign to me Because like, you know what I mean? Like I meet some of the brothers that are good brothers, but you don't see, I don't have any like association with many of these. I association more with the brothers that are on my channel, the guys like the Dan Sparks of the world, and the other brothers out here just trying to, do things. And I always talk about positive lifestyle living, working out, taking care of your body, trying to live healthy life. And when you escape, when you leave the West, and this is for men and women, you leave the West or you travel because you use travel as a part of therapy, enjoying your peace, new experience, new cultures, new environments, get away from that toxic man-hating culture in America. Like, you don't want to run into the same nonsense that you leave the West for. You want to enjoy a more peaceful, enjoyable experience. Like, I'm here, so I really don't watch like American news. I check sports, I check my son's sports and whatever else, but you really, being out of those tourist areas, away, I didn't really think I would like rural Thailand until I came to rural Thailand. I'm like, this shit is fly. This is dope. Like, I've gotten up this morning. It's 11:51 in the morning. I've hit the gym already, did my workout. As you can see, I just came back from the gym. So I said, let me do a live stream this morning and get some Q&A in here with the brothers and everything else, and answer some questions. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation that's put out there about Thailand, about, like, I always ask dudes the question. If you see a YouTuber anywhere, Thailand, Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, any of these places, if you take away YouTube, if you saw this dude walking down the street, would you listen to what this dude has to say? Would you take his opinion? Because you don't know what decision that dude's making. Because, YouTube itself is a representation. You don't know what decision people make in their personal lives that create the realities that they live. So you're dealing with, you're dealing with information that's being put out there. No vetting is done. Or what is this person's lived experience? So everybody has a different lived experience. And I always have this mentality. If I was in America, in the neighborhood, would I listen to you? And if I wouldn't listen to you, if you were living down the street, I certainly wouldn't listen to a dude in Thailand or the Philippines or whatever else that I wouldn't listen to down the street if he was living in my neighborhood. Damn sure won't do that. That's why I enjoy this channel, because we have like a lot of well-grounded brothers on this channel, and we kind of keep each other balanced out, and we give good information, opinion. I like my brother, the Coach of Cognition. I love other brothers. I like, a guy like CGA and other brothers like that who give out well-grounded information, because there's a lot of, dudes that give out information and now they don't, know what the hell they talking about. Yeah, these YouTubers thumbnail women and base traveling off of experience with women rather than the actual culture where they visit. I totally agree. And that's the real problem too. Because again, you come into an environment foreign and you look like a thirsty. Because what is easy? Easy is the low-hanging fruit, right? So it's easy to go to a bar. It's easy to, you're a stranger in an environment. You can go to a bar or a massage parlor or any of these places most of the time because the guy doesn't speak the language. He's not going to learn the language. He's not going to understand the language. So if you're only there for you a 2-week traveler or whatever else, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to really connect with anybody or even build yourself or create any type of connection in a community because you look like just an outsider. It takes time to sit and chill and be in a community and an environment where people get used to you and they see that you're laid back, cool person. Like even around here, the more I'm here, like people treat, well, first of all, I'm like an anomaly out here in this damn place, but just in general, it's a general greeting and kindness. Because like I said, you go back to the tourist areas, seeing foreign or tourists or people in the area, they're like, just another tourist walking around or whatever else. But when you get out here, away from the tourist zones and all that other shit like that, this gets into real community, and it's a different experience when you experience real community versus when you're just experiencing something on a different level where you're just going into tourist zones, because you're going to get a whole bunch of YouTubers out there. You're going to get a whole bunch of dudes walking down the walking streets of the world and the Pattayas of the world, and like, we need to see another 304. The last thing dudes need is another 304 video with pay for play ladies, and projecting like these ladies are, they look good, they're attractive, they're sexy, but they look good, they're attractive. It's just another situation where you're just getting yourself another headache, if you're coming from the States and that's what you're really into, you're gonna have another problem, because anybody can do it. It's real easy. People do it in America. Dudes who running these podcasts, they do the same thing. They get a bunch of women from the what you call it. What's up, my brother? Men's Daily Advice. Yeah. Yeah, you do the same thing in America. In America, you just, like, if you run a YouTube channel, you get a bunch of OnlyFans chick that are looking for some clout, right? You get them, you throw them in the video. Dudes like to see, men and women go back at it, or they like to see one of these podcasters put women in their place. That shit is corny and goofy as hell, man. You get a massive headache, because the women don't give a damn what the dude said. As soon as that dude says something to that woman, she goes back to her social media account, and she got freaking 50 simps in her DM already telling her that dude is a misogynist, he's a narcissist. So really, it's just for clicks and likes, but it really don't solve no problem, because it's useless. You can't really communicate anything. So really, the best way to do things is for most dudes, just to silently check out and just, ignore certain people, because nothing worse than spending time talking to a fool, man. That is the most, ridiculous waste of time. So what I do is encourage the brothers on my channel is like, get off the beaten path, man, especially in a place like Thailand where there's not really a situation concerned about safety that much. Is, you may not want to be in certain environments, where, I think one of the brothers had made some videos, some of the most played out locations that do these passport bros. I don't know anybody put a label on themselves, but some of these locations where these guys go, like, yeah, of course. If you get a bunch of people going to a certain environment over time, what happens inevitably, not only the women are going to adapt to that area. I'll give you an example, all right? A place like Thailand, right? Where are the women of lower quality going to migrate to? They're going to migrate to the places where they're looking for a foreigner to get the money from. And it's in Colombia, it's in DR with the Sosa and all. They're going to go places, where the women that in those areas are not even a representation. They're like a fringe type group of women that go to the Pattayas and the Sukhumvits in Bangkok, the soy cowboys and down and all that. There's like mostly the women that are like obviously having some financial troubles and poverty or whatever, coming out of the Isan region, and they're trying to make some money to support their families and whatever else. So when them dudes running into women down in those areas, it is what it is. That don't mean good or bad or whatever else. The number one understanding the culture here is that family is the number one option, the number one thing. So really, if dudes really want to meet women, the best thing to do is, before those women go to those areas and get into that city mentality and getting ran through, is probably the best place to meet those women before they go get ran through in the cities and the Pattayas and the, why not meet the women before they get ran through in these cities? Because the city is what it is. The Bangkoks, the whatever else, the you know, Pattayas and whatever else. Meet them before they get there. And there's a whole bunch of people, places to go and have conversations with them. And like I said, it's an inviting, cool experience. But most of the times you see the situation where the experience is always with the women that have already been, you know, how would I say it, hardened and explored, or what top them will say, viciously and vigorously pounded out. So you're gonna get, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. He says, because for the same reason, brothers like Carter's always been test driven. Yeah, it's rough. So I see a lot of these videos, man, and I'm like, all right, yo, maybe people need to go different places, and everybody will need to. I understand the comfort level, you know, and I understand, you know, the safety level, but it's a crazy. It's always interesting, you know, to see certain things. So I always like do my videos where I don't put certain things in my videos. You know what I mean? Or I don't put certain exposure in my videos. So it is what it is. But you know, if the travel thing, I think it's going to be for 2025. I think it's what it is. I think brothers are just, I mean, just traveling in general is peaceful, to be honest with you. Getting out, moving around, traveling from place to place, experiencing different culture, and maintaining your routines too. You know, it's got to get to the point where, you know, it's got to be about you as the individual and how you value yourself, because, you know, that's why I say maintain routines, taking care of your health, taking care of whatever else, your money, your finances, and everything else. It becomes a situation of how do you deal with you without women. Without women, what do you do for you absent women? And even here in a place like this, you have to have hobbies and purpose. Otherwise, you'll become bored as hell. And what happens with a lot of dudes end up when they get bored, where's the most easy place for them to go? Go to the bar, drink, hang out with the bar girls. And that can be like a, you know, because even now, what is it? Like I walk past like one of the areas over there, it could be like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, a dude is drinking or nursing a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning, you know, because one, you get caught up in that lifestyle of just hanging out at bars and clubs and everything else, clubbing and everything else. So you can easily get, I mean, if you're here for a vacation or a 2-week situation, it's not a big deal. But if you're here long term, that shit can get crazy real fast, you know, real fast. That can become a huge problem in the habit. So he said, "Gosh, you've already been used." Well, you know, obviously, dudes get into weird shit too, man. Like, you're talking about cars that have already been used, right? Let me see if I put that in there. Like, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think what happens too, like, if you get a lot of dudes that go to the same environment, um, you know, it becomes like a lot of habits, that they would have had um, in the community will come out. Certain types of dudes. certain types of dudes, if they come into an environment, you'll see certain types of habits, display themselves, you know, um, especially with women. Yeah, and even in an environment of abundance, the egos get involved and all that other nonsense, but it is what it is. You know, here where I'm at, no such thing go on. I mean, it just one. I went in a town like what's it the other day, and I was like, there's absolutely, if anything, maybe hidden out of sight, there might be a foreigner, a couple of foreigners here, but I was in a town like I think it's the first time they probably ever seen in person, maybe a black dude, a tall black dude, from America, because here they only recognize, you're American or where you're from. But like, it was an interesting experience, when I went into that town, it was like, yo, whoa. And that's why I put the picture up there, because it was like, it's a unique experience, as opposed to you being in the tourist areas where they're so used and common and so regular and whatever else. And everybody that goes to those environments, their number one goal is to make money and send back to the villages. So their mindset is more survival and everything else. And they're looking at you primarily as just, look, you're like a walking bot to them. So you're going to get a whole different experience in those environments versus if you just rolling up in an environment that does not really cater to tourists. They're like, whoa, now it becomes about whether you're a decent person or not. And you come into a town or a small area where they're not seen. I think it's like that everywhere. You come into an environment where they're not like designed or catering towards tourists. You get the different flow and the different feel from the people, because now they're like, whoa, wow, well, what is it about you? Now it becomes about who you are, your personality, and whether you're a kind person or whether you're a person that they would want to know, or they're intrigued by you, but they also, you also get a genuine, more organic experience away from the tourist zones. But a lot of dudes are not comfortable getting outside of the tourist zone. I don't care if you have to pay somebody, it's worth it to get outside the tourist zones and experience a more authentic version of the culture, because the culture in the tourist zones, it's like you might as well just enjoy being in America, because you're going to get the same experience as you would get in the West, in the tourist zone. Same types of mentalities. There's difference, but you're going to get the same types of mentalities that you would get if you were in some modern city. Even here in Thailand, you go to Bangkok, you go to all these other places. Those are modern, cities. Many of them similar to the West. They have all the conveniences and whatever else. Obviously, there's some things that are just culturally and totally different, but they design whatever those things are to make Westerners comfortable. And those environments are designed to make Westerners comfortable. From the food, you'll see the KFCs, you'll see the Burger Kings, you'll see McDonald's, you'll see all the Western restaurants in those areas, because they're designed for tourists. So I went to a spot, was it 2 days ago? And I was looking, I could barely find like a 7-Eleven. 7-Elevens are everywhere over here in Thailand. So there's one town, I was like, shoot. And it's like a 7-Eleven on almost every corner here. But I was riding around for like, about 4 kilometers before I could find a 7-Eleven in this small town. And then when I walked out the car, and they were like, oh, they do exist. But they were friendly and kind, you know what I mean? And they offer you stuff, or whatever else. So when I go to these small towns, as opposed to people trying to extract every dollar out of you in this environment, people are actually trying to offer you and be kind to you, and try to make you feel invited into their town or into their space. So that's a totally different mindset mentality than if you just hanging out in the tourist zones where the number one goal is to get as much money out of you as possible. So it's a completely different experience. You know. But I think that becomes more complicated too. Like if somebody doesn't have like the information, like where to stay, where to go, like I can tell you it's so easy because like, okay, you can go, if you flew into Bangkok right now and you went across to the, one of the, you can get on a little small Asian airlines to get to where I'm at. It's like a 45. Maybe I pay like, because I got the exit out seating because I'm tall, like $52 for a flight. So from Bangkok to here, 45-minute flight cost me about $52. And that's not a lot of money, period. You get yourself a little motel over here for like $20 a night, whatever, for the first couple of days until you find somewhere that you feel is comfortable to stay at. So, which is, real quick. So you fly out of Bangkok, you're here maybe 45 minutes. From here, you have all kinds of other options. You can go across the way towards the east, towards the north, to the east, towards like Chiang Mai, or, there's, Nat Khon, there's Nakhon Phanom, there's all these other small little towns up here in the northern region, or you can come further south and go towards the east to other areas where, move around. Because like I said, it's not an issue of safety. Like, okay, maybe the traffic in Bangkok, now that's or other places like that, that's hell. Like, for instance, like you can move around Thailand. Like, how you like get like you drive through some small town and you out in the middle of like middle America, right? And you be like, whoa, because everybody's protective, got their guns, and you don't worry about trespassers and people. People might pull up. Somebody might pull up on you, pull out on you, something. It's not like that here. So even if you get lost or off the beaten path, it ain't like you worried about I'm lost and somebody's gonna plug me or some shit like that. It's like okay, I'm out in the middle of some small town in the middle of Thailand. Other than being intrigued by you, it's a different experience. So you're not worried about, so exploring here, you're not really worried about getting lost or something like that. If anything, they'll be more intrigued by you and offer to help you. Especially you got to pull out that translate app though. But generally, that's a whole different experience. So when I see a lot of the videos and I see a lot of the stuff and whatever else, a lot of that stuff is coming from the tourist zones where everybody go. And most of the problems is coming from the tourist zones when it comes to Westerners or tourists in general. Like some issue happened in Pattaya the other day. It was like ridiculous. 2 foreigners getting into it. And that's most of the problems that you're going to see out here is foreigners getting into it with other foreigners over nonsense. And it don't even make any sense. So with that being said, what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, visa services and whatever else I talk about. Easy up here. Visa services was easy. What's crazy, I tell a story. There's a visa agent around the corner, PDC Visa. I have to shout out the lady. I had to do my 30-day extension. And, you know, some places in Pattaya, it's like two. He said it's snowing in the DMV. Yeah, it's about, I think it's about like, I think it's like the high 70s right now. It's about the high 70s where I'm at. Because I'm in further north, so it's a lot cooler. But going back to what I was saying, I had to do like the 30-day extension on my visa until, all of my retirement visa and all that stuff is finished. But the lady's like, I was gonna say, well, in the tourist areas, is like big profit to, for the agents, like they take you get stuff done, which is good. I always hire an agent for certain things if you need it. But the lady's like, no, just go right down there and hey, show me a passport and whatever, and they'll give you a 30-day extension. I'm not gonna charge you for that. And I was like sitting there like, what? Because you're so used to the Bangkok and the Pattaya, and they try to get every dollar out of you they can, like, the business areas that they are. So I was surprised out here when the ladies say, no, we're not going to charge you for that. Or a person just says, no. Or I was eating the other day at the market over here, and the lady just brought me an extra plate of food of something she wanted me to try, right? And I tried to pay for it. She said, no, just go ahead. I want you to try. You come here every day to eat. And it was just being kind and being nice. And I was like, okay. And I was kind of taken aback because, obviously you're schooled in a certain mentality or a certain environment, being in the tourist zone. I was like, whoa. So I realized right away, I mean, yeah, I don't have the beach and all the other stuff, but the environment up here is a whole lot different. And even if you have to fly to that environment down there, just visiting and experiencing the real culture is a huge difference in the way you're treated and the way you're greeted out here versus like, in those types of environments. And even many of the expats themselves, it's got a different energy and different flow about them out here. That you don't get in some of those environments. I'm not talking about whatever else, but when I look at some of these videos, it's crazy. But anyhow, with that being said, it's almost lunchtime. Any questions before I get out of here, man? Because I know it's like after midnight on the East Coast in America, and I know it's cold as shit. With that being said, hey, salute to you guys, man. Have a good night. Any questions, leave below in the chat. I'll get to it a little later. And like I said, answer some questions from the brothers, and give just straight up answers for anything you need, whatever you need to know, So peace and blessings to you guys, man. Good night.